It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso, right here on SABC3. Now, this entire week, we have been gearing up for the 2020 African Fashion International Fashion Week Joburg virtual experience. And now that day is finally upon us. We hope you've booked your free front row seat to experience a first on the African continent with a variety of masterclasses, entertainment, fashion forums over the next 3 days. Now, this morning, joining us to share more about his participation in this world-class event is iconic fashion designer, award-winning entrepreneur, event producer, and UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador, Gavin Rajah. Woo!
Thank you.
Yay, yay! How does it feel to hear all of those accolades?
I mean, it's a bit odd. It's like outside me, and I think you don't while you're doing it, you don't really kind of absorb it. So, but anyway, I don't think one should believe one's own hype. I think it's good to remain grounded. But
I mean,
it's fun occasionally to hear it. Yeah.
It truly is fun, and you deserve it because you've had the opportunity of showcasing your work globally. I mean, on catwalks in Paris, for example. How does it feel for you to have this kind of support and love to showcase the work that you do?
So I think it's one thing to gain some form of international kind of presence and the entrenchment of one's brand, but I think home is always where your work is entrenched.
Yes.
Home is always where it started. And I think that it's very important for us to have a base here in a way. And I mean, really, my brand started here and it grew here. So I'm always excited about showing here, always.
And the pieces that we are seeing on display are immaculate. They are so divine. How long have you been doing it?
Well, it's going to be over 20 years. We were celebrating this at the beginning of the year in March, just before the lockdown at our last collection. But yeah, it's been a long time, really.
Yeah, and you've been a part of the AFI organization for a while, for over the many years. Things are obviously being done differently this year because of 2020. Yeah. So many things that are unforeseen have occurred. How has it been, being a part of this format of production this year?
So I think, what COVID did was really just propel us into the fourth industrial revolution and made us far more digitally agile. And I think South Africa definitely was lagging behind in terms of, online presence and a strong digital presence in terms of fashion. But also I think it made it far more accessible to lots more people. And I think this is exactly what AFI is trying to do with this Fashion Week, is focus on accessibility, on taking things. So fashion has always been this kind of thing which is really inaccessible, doesn't really communicate much with people. And I think this time round, it gives people, a great opportunity to interact with it on a digital platform, to be able to see it, and for lots of people to be sitting literally front row in front of your screen and watching, the shows happen, whereas they're normally just by invitation. But I also think that by doing this, it's increasing, we're getting a broader audience that are looking at our collections. And also it can be accessible to media as well as buyers as well, for retailers.
Please take us through your 2020 collection, which is ready for pre-order. It's an Italian name, right?
No, it's French.
French.
So it was just really a pré on prêt-à-porter, which means ready to wear. And given the context of where we are and what life has kind of shown us, we've just called it prêt-à-vivre, which is ready to live. And so, our ready-to-wear collections is now just called Prêt-à-Vivre, and we've kind of attached many things to it. So it's also, the homeware collection is also part of it now, and it's all under one kind of label, and it's very different to our couture. And we've gone digital. We've always had an online presence, but we now have a full-on online store, which is at gavinrajah.com, and people can either pre-order or buy whatever they want to buy online.
I love that. I feel like as artists, as a fashion designer, you guys have also kept us alive during this 2020 year, I
think it's been very important. I think one of the most amazing things is that we've had time to sit back, really look at what we do, look at our craft, how we do our things, who we support, creating kind of support for local economies, local kind of craftsmen, and as opposed to just always sourcing outside.
Yes.
So in a way, it's also given us the time to reflect back on what we do and see how we can refine it and better it. Yeah.
Without giving much away,
Yeah.
what can people expect tonight?
Well, it's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow night at 7:30 online. I think this collection was really inspired by very, very strong women. One of the things which I did a couple of years ago was start this, the White Life Foundation movement, which is really about victims of gender-based violence and sexual abuse, and really looking at how we could transform women's social and economic circumstances by empowering them with jobs and job creation. So it was really about teaching them a skill, either sewing, embroidery, those kind of things. And this collection is very strongly couched with the use of these crafts that we've taught women, as together with all the women in my studio. In fact, I only have women in my studio that work.
I love that.
And this collection is really about celebrating strong African women in a very iconic way. So they kind of our fantastical, maybe dreamy interpretations of strong women, and couched very much in Africa. So you'll see, hopefully, maybe in the way it's been shot, that it's almost like a new guard of women who are the protectors of the world. And so, I just hope people, like it, understand it, and see where it's coming from.
I'm sure.
Enjoy the message behind it, and also look at the clothes very carefully, because all of those things have been made by women.
I love that, and it's something that we can appreciate. Supporting gender-based violence victims goes above and beyond marching or speaking on it, but also affording them opportunities the way that you
cannot have just an aesthetic anymore.
Yes.
It has to be couched with an
Yes.
ethic or some kind of, responsibility behind it. I think that any brand that is just simply looking at indulging in doing frivolous things has really no place in the future.
I appreciate you so much in the work that you have done.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this morning and shedding light on not only the work that is going to be showcased this weekend, but also shedding light on something that is truly important in South Africa, and that is gender-based violence.
Thank you.
Shout outs to you, Gavin. Now, register now to get your free front row seat to the 2020 AFI Fashion Week Joburg Virtual Showcase. All the shows are free, okay? So there's no excuse to miss out. Register at afi.events and follow at AFI_SA on social media. Remember, you can also subscribe to the AFI Designer Boutique and support local by shopping the styles of emerging and established African designers. Visit afiboutique.com for all the contemporary luxury African fashion your heart truly desires.
The front row is open to everyone for this year's AFI Fashion Week Joburg. The virtual experience will be on from the 12th to the 14th of November, with main shows going live on Friday and Saturday evenings at 7:15. You can sign up to watch for free at www.afi.events. Witness African designers reset, reimagine, and reinvent the best in fashion.